Hey folks, welcome back to the show. This is the Workplace Innovator podcast, and I'm your host, Mike P. Like and subscribe on YouTube if you haven't been watching our videos. Why not? It's really fun to see DJ Mike P. in full color as well as my amazing guests. And today, joining us, a first-time visitor from the great state of Texas. She is well known in the commercial furniture industry and has been doing a lot to help people like you, facility management, workplace leaders, and people of all kinds trying to create a better workplace. So everybody say hello to the CEO of SKG, one of the fastest growing furniture dealerships in the country, and the co-founder or the founder of FOLIO, the first SaaS platform built for the commercial furnishings industry. Her name, everybody, is Beth Goff-McMillan. Beth, welcome to the Workplace Innovator podcast.
Hello, Mike. It is lovely to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. How's everything in Austin, Texas today? Hot, I imagine.
It's nice and warm. But we have lots of fun lakes and rivers, and we love to float and boat a lot. So it's great. Austin's a great place to be.
It is. I've been there a few times. Beth visited your hometown. Hook 'em horns for anybody out there.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah.
what you see when you get off.
Be careful. We do lots of work with lots of schools, but UT is one of them.
Okay, yeah.
So,
this isn't a exclusive interview. I'm going from the D.C. area,
of course,
Northern Virginia Tech Hokie guy. I immediately went to football, college football. And I know there's some wonderful universities in Texas. Yeah.
Football. And it was so funny last night. After the soccer match, my husband immediately could tell how many days until the first football game. So he's like, okay, here's the next football game. So
the countdown has begun. I'm excited too. We, Virginia Tech Hokies, have a new coach this year. The former Penn State coach came to save our program, Beth. So we'll see what happens. No promises. Hokie Nation, no promises. Hey, listen, I'm so happy to have this conversation with you. We only have a short time together, so I want to give you a chance to share your story. I know a lot about you. I imagine many of my listeners already know you because you've kind of dabbled in our community of IFMA, and I know many of my listeners are attendees at NeoCon.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about SKG.
So SKG, we are headquartered in Austin. We cover the state of Texas, predominantly the state of Texas, and go coast to coast. The most traditional in our industry, the most traditional thing to say is we are a furniture dealer, but that's really not who we are. We really consider ourselves more business strategists and consultants when it comes to furnishing offices, whether it's a corporate environment, a technology company, education, healthcare, government offices. We really run the full spectrum of facilities.
Yes, and I've seen many of your interviews, and I really have enjoyed some of your philosophy around workplace strategy and how we can better think about our places and spaces to better create that wonderful employee experience, which is what we talk about here. And now with your software tool, you do some technology. So we'll talk about it all here, Beth, in a minute. But my audience loves to know a little bit more about the personality of my guests. And I do that. You know, I do it. You've heard the show. You told me. I appreciate you being a listener.
I know what's coming. I'm ready for it.
DJ Mike P wants to know your favorite artist, music, or type of song that gets you inspired. What would you say?
Oh, that gets me inspired. Lots of different moods that I love music to set the tone and the stage. So, nothing fires me up like a good Dolly Parton song. And it's not because she's iconic now. I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky. I grew up on bluegrass.
Yes.
And so I have been watching Dolly Parton my entire life. Amazing. I mean, I cannot sit still when I hear a song come on. But if we're thinking about like karaoke, things like that, I might lean into Cranberries.
Ooh.
I kind of, yeah,
Linger or,
I will mix it
yeah.
around. But if I'm having a cup of coffee in the morning, I love like just some good Leon Bridges or Chris Stapleton. So yeah,
Oh, okay. All right. So we're all over
yeah,
the place, but you got to
I
go
am.
back to the legendary Dolly Parton. In fact, Beth, I've probably done, I don't know, 1,000 interviews if you add them all up over the last decade, and no one's ever brought up Dolly. I can't imagine
She's
why.
Oh, me either. I figure that would be like what everybody says is, yeah, but yeah,
What should we do
no,
together?
she's
Come on, here we go. Jolene, Jolene,
Jolene,
Jolene,
Jolene,
Jolene.
Jolene.
Working
I'm
9 to
begging of you,
5.
please don't take my man.
Yes. Oh, you've got a good voice. Thanks for sharing
Oh
it.
gosh, thank you.
And yeah, here we go again with some podcast karaoke and Beth
Yep.
playing along. It's not,
I
that doesn't
know,
happen
I
all the
know.
time.
I'm
So
going to
thank you.
regret that when I hear this played back. I'm going to cringe and probably wreck my car, but
Everything on the internet is forever, Beth. So
I
I
know,
apologize in advance.
unfortunately.
No, that was great. That was great. And it is inspirational. I love music. It does, touch you and make you, smile as it
It
did
does.
just now. So thanks for
Yeah.
playing along. The other thing I like to do to inspire the audience is share a quote or two. Do you have a favorite
Yeah.
motivational quote?
I do. And this was from my longtime mentor, Mike Benigno, who is just a legend in the furniture industry and the design space. And he would always tell us, stay contemporary. And that has stayed with me my entire career. He told me that very, very young when I first started my first sales job. He was like, stay contemporary, stay contemporary.
Yeah.
And it has motivated me my entire career.
Well, what does that
Yeah.
mean, Beth, to stay contemporary in our world of the built environment and the workplace?
Oh, man. And especially what we do when we think about furnishing and really bringing the last components of the built environment to life. I think it lends itself not only to what we do in our craft, but also as a leader and then building businesses, which I really love. And it's always thinking about what's next. What is next for the employees inhabiting a space? What's next for us as leaders? What's next for us as business? And now in the pace and rate of change, it's, to me, staying contemporary is deeper in jumping to the shiny lure or going with what's the fad or the rad at the moment. This is really about staying contemporary is what is the next evolution of sustainable change? How do we get ahead of it? And how do we pull people with us?
Yeah, I like that a lot, Beth. It reminds me of the theme of this show, which is to be a workplace innovator.
Yeah.
And that's a great follow-up to what you just described, because that's very aligned with what I try to encourage my audience of FM and workplace leaders to do, is to be innovative, not chase, as you mentioned, not chasing fads or the latest tech tools just for the sake of technology, but really looking at the environment in a holistic way and then trying to put those things into action. But what do you think about when you said, hey, I'm going to be on the Workplace Innovator podcast? What comes to mind for you when it means being innovative in the workplace today?
The theme that has been my mantra has really been around the questions we're asking of the businesses as they're thinking about space. And when I think about innovation for our industry and innovation for the built environment, it's all around strategy. And the workplace is a direct reflection of a business, their strategy.
Yeah.
And it should be. And I think the most innovative thing we can be doing when we think about strategy for the built environment is asking the right questions. And so many people come to us asking about what should I be buying? What is the latest thing? When our first questions are always to them, why are you all inhabiting space? I am a huge believer in people being together in a collective built environment for sure. Mm-hmm. And so it's not about, do you need the real estate or not? The question is, why, from a business objective, why do you want your employees showing up? Why do you want them together? What is it that you as a business owner, leader, executive is wanting from the human connection, the work product, the culture? Those are the questions we need to be asking instead of what and how, is really why.
Yes, that is so well said, Beth. And I've heard you share this idea before, and I want to dig into it a little deeper if we may.
Yeah,
in the time we have. It's this strategy as a leader yourself and someone who's run businesses and has been so active. In fact, I encourage you to follow Beth on LinkedIn. I'll share a link in the show notes to make it easy. The things you're seeing today here in the middle of 2026 and in this post-pandemic world, this hybrid world, this place where people want to have purpose and they want to realize why they do what they do, why come to an office, why collaborate with the team. How can leaders better do that? And what are you most focused on in your role as you run your businesses and try to, put these things into action?
Excellent question. And we just had to eat our own dog food. We just redid 3 of our own offices. And being your own client is challenging when half of your staff actually have a design background.
Sure.
So I think when we think about the space, and I always drive the team, is what is the organizational event occurring that's driving ... the taking on 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 square feet, buying a building. What was the organizational event that drove that? That's what we have to understand. Is there a merger? Is there an acquisition? Are you tapping into a new vertical? And when we lean into first the realization of the event and what's happening with the organization, then that really informs from a human dynamic and from a leader. Yes, most executives, when they are thinking about taking on real estate or outfitting real estate, it first comes down to, how much space do I need and what are the rates? What's my triple net? Am I going to get signage and my parking and all of that? When we like to lean into the human-centered design is, well, then what's the expectation of the employees? And so to me, it's this intersection of what is the vision for the business, and then how do you drive employee engagement? And so you come to that with, we love really digging in with the C-suite or leaders and understanding what their vision is for the business, short-term, long-term. So we really understand from the use of space, the experience of space, the investment that they need or don't need to make, those really inform that. And then from the employee engagement side, it really is taking a pulse and getting to know that team. And whether it's surveys or interviews, on-site observations, which we do all of that, and we love doing all of that, then it really informs behavior and how they're working. So when we can bring both of those together, that's when you really get the dynamic, optimal workplace. And so that's our philosophy. And we've just had to do that ourselves. And it was just such an incredible opportunity that while we have 4 different living showrooms and 2 very large and soon to be 3 very large warehouses. I'm also an employer. And we love our team, and we have an incredible, incredible staff. We want them coming into a space that's very inspiring. And so our theme, and we've now taken it to our clients, is earn their commute. I told the leaders of our team, we will earn their commute. And yes, we might be a showroom and ... We might have some business goals, but at the end of the day, we need to create a space that is set up for what is important to our employees right now. And whether that is neurodiversity, whether that is the acoustical, all the things around acoustics. Everything that we're doing now is on screen, even if I'm sitting at my desk. So are we setting up technology and enough spaces and variety that I can have this level of conversation and not disturb everybody? But it's an intersection, and it's far more complex than it ever has been.
Sure.
But we're excited about it.
It is exciting, and it sounds great to hear you talk about it. You're eating your own dog food, you say. Let's change that to eat your own barbecue or something more tasty.
I should. Yeah, that's right. Eat your own barbecue.
Eating our own cooking. But you're describing all the things, Beth, that we talk about here on this show, the holistic view of the built environment and all of these factors. It's not just about the furniture or the amenities or the design of the space. It's all of it, and it's also the culture and the things you've mentioned so eloquently. And it means that my audience of facility management and real estate and workplace leaders has to lead in this area and be more mindful of those human beings. And that's what they love about, I think, this show, because all of my guests are focused on the people, human-centric, you said, design. Any practical advice in that area? I know we're strange creatures. Human beings sometimes say one thing that they want, and then they behave a different way. I'm sure you've seen it. But what would you suggest when it comes especially to an FM leader who maybe isn't in HR or specifically in charge of policy, but they certainly have an influence on the space? What would you tell them they should be focused on?
Well, I think something that you said is a really valid point, and it really post-COVID, we see HR in our meetings now, when many times that was one of our asks is, can we have HR part of these meetings? And wow, talk about ruffling feathers. They're like, what? No, we're in charge of the facility. I'm like, yes, I understand, but we need to understand what, from the human side, are there issues? Are there ergonomic issues? That's where they're going to go to. But I would encourage, and we see some of the best outcomes is when HR and facilities collaborate. And they think about the human side. They definitely think about policy, but then they think about the practicality of how difficult it is to maintain a facility when humans, we all know how difficult that role is, because humans treat their office very different than they treat their home, or differently than they treat their home.
Right.
I think, some basic advice are, I've listened to your show. You have some really, really talented folks on here. I always hate giving advice. I think I would lean into a shared story. I think when we see real success is facility managers are very keen and leaning into the employee experience. And I've heard many of them say on here, those are our customers, are the employees. I would encourage not only a great relationship with HR, but management teams. And when a facility manager understands what that manager is trying to accomplish for said department, the marketing team, and what is it that they are trying to accomplish from a business perspective, it helps them solve faster and solve better with fewer go backs and fewer mistakes. Shared example, in particular, marketing team, the amount of flexibility and writing surfaces and pinup, whatever it might be, displays. We just see the marketing team is just functions so differently. And in the aspect of creativity, those are the teams we see coming back. Those are the teams that we see hyper engaged. That I think when facilities and management can intersect and they really understand what's happening, it allows them to solve for space better. Interesting.
Yeah, and I'm a marketing guy. I'm part of a team like that. I hope we're creative. I hope we're trying to take into all these ideas into account as we present these stories. And it's about storytelling and casting that vision and then moving people along. But you need the input of everybody. The leadership has to work with the boots on the ground and also the, IT. You mentioned technology. I don't want to let the time go by without mentioning your FOLIO software. What does that do exactly? And how does technology in general play a role in all of this, Beth?
Yeah, so FOLIO started as a tool we were building for SKG. And then when we realized what we built, we're like, wow, we could really help. Well, it was intersections of two things. One, we were building it for SKG, but prior to SKG, I had my own consulting company. And it was called Workspace Vision. And that was in between. I was at Knoll, left Knoll because I wanted to do something radically different. And before everybody had their FF&E and furniture experts and all of that, I wanted to be a champion for the end user without a product in my bag. And I wanted to be able to have these deep, rich conversations. And what I realized is when we could have the conversations that we wanted to have, the incredible spaces we could deliver. The challenge was when I had a product in my bag, they saw me as I'm trying to sell something.
Sure.
At the end of the day, I may or may not have sold something, but in order for us to get to the right solution, being able to ask and get answers to thoughtful questions helps us deliver the best possible solution for them, whether you buy it or not. So I wanted to have this dialogue. As a consultant, I was able to have that dialogue. And then coming over to SKG, I wanted to be able to have it faster. And the whole Amazon effect is so real. And what we developed with FOLIO is how can I ask our customer 8 impactful questions that arms us as a dealer the information we need to move very quickly for them, but makes the end user, and for us, the end user, it could be the physical end user or a client, could be the design firm, whatever, make them think very differently and not just showing up and saying, I need file cabinets, I need a height adjustable desk, I need a task chair. It makes them think about the space in a different way. And so that's what FOLIO was designed to do, was help the end user answer some front-end questions. And then that would help us as a dealer deliver in literally an instant moment, a budget, a good, better, best budget. It has some thought starters, but then there's a checklist. And so whether it's the end user, the A&D firm, or us as a dealer, it allows us to go through a repeatable process every single time and make sure we're asking ourselves the right questions so we deliver an error-proof space.
Great. Yeah, ask the right questions, get to that solution faster. That's the expectation today. And whatever tools and whatever strategies we can put into place to make it happen is what we're about here at the Workplace Innovator podcast. So thank you for sharing all of it. Beth, I'm looking at the clock. We're out of time, but before I let you go, I'll give you the chance to have the last word with my audience. Any final thoughts you'd want us to have as we head into the future of the workplace together?
You know, I love the built environment, and I love how when a thoughtful space drives the behavioral outcomes you want as a business. As a business owner, as a business leader, I love it when I see our employees engaged and happy and laughing, but also being inspired and delivering great work. And I think as with evolution, with all the technology, with all the AI, yes, infuse that. But when you think about designing and outfitting a space, I encourage everybody to start with the why and think about the office as not the strategy, but the office is a direct reflection of the strategy of that business. And when we can lean into understanding why you want people in the space and the outcomes you want from that space, that's really where the design should start.
I love it. Great stuff. Beth Goff-McMillan, this has been fantastic. I really enjoyed the discussion. Thank you so much for taking time to join me here on the Workplace Innovator podcast.
It was a blast. Thanks for having me, Mike. I'm appreciative.
And thank you all for listening and for watching, I hope, on YouTube. Please continue to support this program by sharing this podcast with a colleague or a friend, anyone who you think might like to join us as we continue on our journey to encourage and inspire you to be a workplace innovator. Peace out, everybody.